In chapter 4 of the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna explains to Arjun the yoga of knowledge. Lord Krishna said, I had imparted knowledge about this traditional yoga to the Sun Lord Surya. He had communicated the same to his son Vibhasan Manu, who in turn informed his son Ikshvaku. Pratampa Arjun, in this manner, descending from the old traditions, this yoga became known to the kings and the pandits. But for a long time, this yoga has gone into oblivion and vanished from this earth. You are my disciple, my devotee, and my dear friend. Therefore, today I have explained the same yoga to you. The yoga is deep wisdom and a subject of great rarity. Arjun said, My Lord, you have just been born now. But Surya's birth dates back to ages when the cosmos had just begun. In that case, how should I accept that you had explained this yoga to Surya? Lord Krishna said, Paratampa Arjun, you and I have had many births earlier. You do not know about these, but I do know. Even though I am beyond the cycle of birth and death, and even though I am the creator of all beings, I take form and appear in the world from time to time. Bharat, whenever religion suffers a setback and sins excel, I assume the form of a living being and come before the mankind. I appear from time to time for the help and progress of virtuous and deserving people, and for the destruction of wicked and the sinners, and to safeguard the religion. Arjun, my birth and my deeds are divine, pure, and transcendental. The person who understands and realizes this truth does not take birth after death. Instead, he assumes my form and becomes a part of me. In the past, many such persons whose desires and enemies had been killed and who were always devout towards me and had full faith in me were purified with wisdom and attained my form. Arjun, whichever way my devotees worship me, I reciprocate accordingly because, as I said earlier, all people follow the path laid down by me. In this world, people who are keen to secure the results of their deeds worship the lesser gods, that is, family deities, because in this worship they are able to ensure the achievement of their objectives easily. Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra, these are the four classes which have been created according to the gunas, attributes and duties. I hold no desire or longing for the result of my duty. Therefore, my duty does not cause any involvement. The person who gets to know me in this manner remains unattached with his actions. In other words, his actions too do not get him involved. In the olden times, forefathers also understood the reality and carried on with their objectives. Therefore, following their example, you should also carry on with your duties. What classifies an action and what is an inaction, even though enlightened people also, people of wisdom, are confused while determining the answer to this question. Therefore, I will explain to you the basic nature of action, and after understanding which, you will be freed from attachment of action and impurity of mind. It is necessary to understand the features of action as well as those of inaction, because often the result of action has a far reaching effect. The person who can observe inaction in action and action in inaction is wise among people. And he who performs his duty well is a yogi. One who follows his duty according to the Shastras, the scriptures, and whose actions are not motivated by desire or cause anything in view, and whose actions are purified by the fire of wisdom, is called Pandit by learned sages. The person who has no attachment to his deeds and to the results thereof is free from worldly matters and is fully satisfied with the involvement of God. He may get involved in any kind of action, but his actions remain free from attachment. The person who has conquered his self, this is very important. The Lord Krishna explains the person who has conquered his self, his senses and his body, and who has given up all objects of worldly pleasures. Such a person, without his dependence on hopes of any kind, can carry out his normal duties and perform his work with the help of his body, and yet he remains free from sins of any kind. He accepts whatever is received with satisfaction because he does not desire nor goes after worldly desires. The person who has freed himself of envy, of jealousy, and who transcends the effects of pleasure and pain remains calm and composed in success or in failure. Such a person remains free from attachment even when involved in any kind of work. The person who has killed all kinds of attachment and is free from all afflictions of affection. He who has conquered his personal ego, whose mind is always engaged in wisdom of God. For such a person whose actions are directed only towards betterment of humanity, all his actions get merged in his efforts for the general good. So, Lord Krishna explains to him that it is necessary that significance of life can be achieved only by dedicating everything to God Almighty and by doing work only for the society, for the good of society, for the good of human mankind, so that they progress. But anyone whose actions are only to satisfy his desires cannot be really at peace and he cannot be happy.